Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another Willow review, and this time I'm doing it on the day it comes out. Well, miracles can happen, but yes. But I wanted to get this episode out as I have its memory still in mind, but yes. Willow, episode 5, also called Wildwood and all that stuff, in which the episode follows up right after. Let's see, the last episode where the Gales are chasing the members of the Gales, particularly, I believe. Let's see, the Gales, particularly the Scourge, and I believe the Dog, which I believe is the shapeshifter. Yes. So if there's any background noises, I've got the washing on, but anyway, they are chasing Willow and friends and all that stuff. Let's see. I believe Kit and Jay, particularly, being chased by the let's see the Scourge, while the Dog I think is chasing particularly Borman, or is it the Laura, or maybe let's see, maybe both. I don't know, I kind of can't recall quite the mix-up, but yeah. But Willow eventually uses his magic wand and appears to incinerate one of them, particularly the dog, that I think she regenerates later, but I don't know. It was pretty quick, so let's see, a bit hard to tell, but well, I'm hoping one of them isn't dead. But yeah, they go into like let's see, after running from Balmorda's castle, they go to the where the Plitch is a place that apparently is on the particular enchanted forest that once you go in, you never go out. But apparently Jade doesn't mind going there because apparently that's where her parents' killers are. And we've seen from the last episode. As they go in, let's see, having no choice but to go in. Willow attempts to try and to continue Alora's training with magic, but is preventing her from using, the wand he got from like his own mentor and all that stuff. Let's see. Borman and Graydon have a talk about, well, women and love and all that stuff, and the advice, because it's revealed that Graydon actually has feelings for Alora and all that stuff. He starts to notice this, but he gets interrupted. Bowman, in giving his advice, telling him how women would probably react, notices a skull while we're getting close to like Jade and Kit and all that stuff, who was, I think, making some insults to Bowman, but Bowman ends up going about how he has a plan, but ends up being captured by a group of skull-wearing warriors and all that stuff. One of them, which I think was from the first episode. And they take them prisoner, and they recognize Borman, and they take her to the leader, who's someone called Scorpia, who's surprised that Borman is alive and all that stuff. But see, who's trying to make some excuses, and even tries to flirt with her, implying that they do have some sort of romance. Eventually, you have Kit trying to say that she's the princess of I think I forgot the name. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just. Let's see. Ruler of Celine. Oh yeah, Princess of Celine and all that stuff. Now on a mission to rescue her brother with Alora and all that stuff. However, Scorpia has no interest and all that stuff, and has them separated into prisons. Kit with Alora, Willow with Graydon, Jade tied to herself, seemingly having some interest in Jade, and has Borman taken to a tent where she interrogates Borman of why she's not dead, and go talk about how he grieved for her and how she grieved for him and all that stuff. But now is angry about that. Borman, in a bit of his, he tries to charm his way out of it, lies a bit about how he battled through this let's see, horrible trials and battle and all that stuff, where he was captured apparently, how he searched for her and all that stuff, and battled countless enemies and all that stuff, and getting distractions before eventually being jailed, and then until persuaded by the Queen that, of course, let's see, into the Queen let out because of his useful skills and all that stuff of persuasion. But as we see from the flashbacks, he hides from a bower, which seems to be let's see, people's leavings, I think, and that might be an implication or something disgusting at least. Him taking a shower, showing off his bod a bit, and then him making out with flirting and making out with a bunch of women at a tavern before being caught by knights for misbehaving and all that stuff. And of course, we know the actual what really happened with him and Queen Sasha, but that seems enough to persuade. Let's see, Scorpio, and I think she starts to. We see a bit later she starts her romance again with Borman. Meanwhile, Willow. Let's see. Willow and Graydon are trying to escape. Well, not only let's see, Willow, because Graydon's trying to ask about whether or not you think Alora might be interested, but Willow does not want. Let's see, Alora to focus on have any time to focus on romance, as she has a destiny of saving the world, if you will. Even though he gets a bit tricked into the conversation, oh, you're a bit balanced, you think, but then ends up telling that no, now focus on saving the world, and you should stop doing that and just give her some space. Let's see. But then he ends up noticing a brownie's hut thing. But before we get to that, we get back to Kit and Jade, where they wonder what she worries about her friend, if you will. With I think Alora points out how it's pretty obvious what the romance is between them. Now, I'm not sure if it was this or a bit later, but that might have been the bit later scene. But let's see. But Alora, let's see, had managed to swipe Willow's wand off her, uses the blast to break out, which causes Scorpio to distrust her. Woman, no. Let's see, for a bit, and then they eventually arrive to where they were initially in the village and all that stuff, trying to free Jade, but they're surrounded, and they clearly did not think their plan through, as I believe a character named Totoff, or I think Loth was how it was pronounced, but it's a name that Borman ends up mocking quite a bit, saying you should keep that as your first name, even though he doesn't really want to do that, but let's see, but yeah. But they're surrounded, but eventually they didn't clearly think this through, as clearly they're not ready to strike and kill at this point. But anyway, Jade breaks out and fights Scorpio. They have a fight to the death kind of thing, and it looks like it is, until Scorpio notices the mark on their back, and then just has Scorpio come with her and has the others taken care of somewhere else and all that stuff. Well, let's see, and sends an attempt, and then ends up talking to her about her stuff. And let's see, she ends up showing Jade that she has a similar tattoo, and that this tattoo is the mark of General Kale, who Jade remembers from the, let's see, my mistake in the flashback. I should have realized from the last episode, I also forgot about the pig reference, but also the last episode, that the shadowy figure she saw who thought to kill her mother was General Kale. But in fact, General Kale is actually her father and all that stuff, the first Bone Reaver, and she's actually a Bone Reaver. And that she was actually tricked into thinking that, let's see, she was someone else that was being taken, and manipulated into fighting against her own type of people. But as their sisters, she was colonels with them. And I think apparently Scorpio might remember Jade when they were young, but she was too young to remember. But eventually, decides to everyone go and, celebrate her sister's coming back, and even does an announcement about how she was first tricked but now freed, and they're all free here. But this, of course, leaves worry into Kit, given the implications here. Meanwhile, Willow eventually eventually ends up meets with his brownie friend Roll, and I think is it Roll, and apparently Frangen. No, I think the wiki is getting Wikipedia is getting a bit confused. Hold on, I just want to quickly Brownie. Hold on. Brownie, okay. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. Well, let's see. Will is there, and apparently, let's see, and I think he has his daughter, who apparently is, let's see, whose wife was actually Frasian's, and ended up Frasian leaving because Will stole his girl, if you will, and his wife ended up dying, and now he's a bit overprotective father. But we have a little bit of a jokes about how the adventures last time with the sizes and all that stuff, and then of course how they assisted with like owl tricks and all that stuff. Willow asked for his help and all that stuff, and eventually I think there's some sort of leave with some map or at least some magic thing. Willow invites him to come along, even in the backpack, but Will is done with those days. Rather to spend time with his daughter, who's a bit annoyed by that, I think, at least if I'm remembering correctly, and says that Willow now has his own new companion with Graydon and all that stuff, who is his new brownie-like companion, funny like sidekick, if you will. And anyway, Willow and Graydon escape. They grab their staff and a knife from the toolkits where everyone's surrounded and all that stuff, thinking that they haven't been noticed, ready to attack to rescue their friends. But then they see Laura and realize that it's actually a party and they're celebrating Jade's return to the village and all that stuff. As they all seek freedom from Turtle and all that stuff. Let's see who. So yeah, they're all welcoming and accepting the travelers and all that stuff. You have particularly let's see, Laura helping Toph, let's see, with like the cooking seasoning with the soup and all that stuff, and he doesn't mind her calling the name. And this is where Willow sees that she has the wand and using it well, but using it to make soup and then having it wiped on the Toph's clothing and all that stuff. And yeah, and he's annoyed about that. But this leads to a few character interactions, and they all end up drinking this sort of like truth grapefruit thing and all that stuff that's sort of been turned into a drink. And as a result, it means that they're compelled to tell the truth and all that stuff. But during this, we see a bit of romance going on, particularly Boreman rekindling with Scorpio and I think kissing and all that stuff. But I think Jade's reaction funny. I'm not sure if she actually approves of this, but heck. Her and Jade end up confronting each other about the truth and all that stuff, with Jade asking if Kit ever knew that the mother lied to her, and she doesn't think so, but thinks that she'd heard for good reasons and all that stuff. But also at the same time, she seems to have suspected, but was too afraid to tell her because I feel like it would break her heart and upset her. However, Jade feels like that Kit does nothing but break her heart and then leaves, seemingly like a sort of breaking up. Graydon is getting a shave and all that stuff, but unfortunately he learns from the guys that that was probably the wrong move to do because, well, girls apparently love a beard, and they proved this by that one guy that doesn't have a beard that helped him out with the shaving, doesn't have a girlfriend, so this worries of Graydon, who eventually ends up, trying to practice his confession thing to Laura, but Laura ends up confronting him from when he's practicing it, and he's trying to hide that he was trying to talk to her. And she ends up asking about that, what she saw in her vision about his brother, and which revealed that he was sick and was possessed, and that resulted in killing the brother, and he never wanted to do it because he admired him, which might also lead to why his father ends up hating him and all that stuff. This has Laura question who Graydon is, but he doesn't know, and so she ends up leaving. And you have Graydon going to like Willow, who is sort of drunk on the grape thing and other drinks and having fun with the others. I also kind of like how Kit was drinking with some other guy during the thing, and she ended up winning the contest. But yeah, you have then Laura talking to Kit, and you sort of see them getting to be more like friends. To at least starting to respect one another, or at least Laura, Kit saying that it turns out Laura isn't as useless as she thought, and Kit saying Kit isn't as mean as she thought, but just as she's trying to apologize a bit more, but Kit ends up telling Laura that she apparently broke up with Jade and is asking her to advice, in which she gives some very helpful advice of just apologize and be honest how you feel and all that stuff, in which she does. Kit apologizes the fact that her father killed her father, but she doesn't care about that, and they talk about how they just really just want to be together and sort of and they sort of want to kiss, but then Kit gets captured by trolls that sneak out of the pier. But I'm getting ahead to myself because you end up having Graydon talking to Willow and talks about how he admired him and all that stuff, but Willow ends up confessing that he won against Balmore with dumb luck and all that stuff, and ends up confessing that he feels like he's a bit of a hack that's past his prime. Unfortunately, Laura hears this, and she gets angry and storms off, and Willow realizes that he made a mistake confessing all that, and realizes he never should have the truth serum from again. But anyway, as a result, like I said a minute earlier before, the trolls end up attacking, and let's see, they're surrounding everyone. The scene turns dark. I'm not sure, because apparently there wasn't a losing scene with Laura there, but you can see all the villagers there, and they're all surrounded. Well, granted, perhaps we'll get more answers next episode, but yeah, currently the trolls are surrounding, particularly Laura, I think, Borman, Scorpia, and let's see, Jade, ending the episode. Okay, I feel like this episode is probably going to be regarded as the weakest episode of the series, of this season at least, and perhaps by those who hate the show as the worst, because, well, this episode is mostly about the romance drama, and depending on how you feel about it, let's see, love or hate it, let's see, that will determine how you feel about this episode. Of course, there are some things that you can also enjoy in this episode, but the one thing that, let's see, I will admit, I was a bit disappointed the fact that Prince Eric is not going to be more of a was not getting a bit of a side plot with Prince Eric here, Kit's brother, and him exploring the ruins of, I think, the bad guy's lair and all that stuff, from what I can tell. But yeah, that was disappointing, but I guess they're just teasing that. But yeah, I thought the implication was we're going to get some subplot with that at last, but no, sadly not. As for like the gals, I felt like the climax of them chasing was a bit underwhelming. I mean, I do find it interesting that they just went straight to it and all that stuff instead of just like ambush. But yeah. I do kind of like how you had to chase a bit and all that stuff, but I kind of wish it was a bit longer. Granted, I do like Willow's magic of like using his flame magic, one of his magic tools, to burn one of the girls. But I'm not certain that they were. I can't tell if they were permanently killed or not, or if they were temporarily killed and then came back. I think that might have been the shapeshifter one, because. Well, I'm hoping that they stay around, but also hoping that this means that they will find a way to actually kill them in the future. But if they are dead, that's kind of anticlimactic, because we only just got to see these antagonists, but we're not. Let's see, but you got killed off some of them. But of course, the My favorite one, the Scourge, the muscle one, is still around. So yeah, I'm hoping for a big battle against him something at some point. Probably it'll be against Borman since he's the big fighter. But yeah. Anyway, the forest, I feel like the whole illusion thing, never wanting to stay thing, doesn't really feel like it lived up to it. And it's just a village where, and it just seems to be a place where these let's see, let me get, here we are. Let's see, let's see, a Bone Reaver, I think. Yeah, let's see, Bone Reaver and all that stuff. That's just where they're hiding out and all that stuff. But yeah, and again, I thought there might have been some illusion, but that might have been like a Laura just waving her magic powers and all that stuff. So yeah, so it just seems to be a regular forest, just because. And it's, well, granted, perhaps maybe that's just about the rumors about the place, because in fact the people that come in never come out, and those that are ambushed and killed by the Bone Reavers. But I suppose that's my fault for being hyped up about the magical stuff about this. But I guess it makes logical sense about the whole thing. But anyway, we got like a new character called Scorpia, and let's see, I do like how she seems to have a past with Borman, who might be a Bone Reaver himself at least, but at least these Bone Reavers were part of his and my Mardigan's group, and there was a bit of a romance between them. Let's see. I do find it funny how Borman tries to fib about how he escaped, trying to make himself look more heroic and more trying to find them. Instead, he just dumb luck and got himself dirty to escape, and then just flirted with women. Granted, I felt like the shower scene was a bit too long with like fan service and his like muscle bod, if you will. I know when you watch anime, you kind of think, "Oh, this is fan service," but I know I thought that bit was a bit too long, but I do like how he seems to actually generally care for her and probably wants to romance with her, but he has a quest to do. But the promises to return later, but it's clearly lying about the magic armor thing, so that will probably cause some tension later. Now, whether or not this will be a long-term romance or short-term, let's see, that eventually she breaks up with him, I don't know, but it could be someplace that Borman returns to by the end of the series. Graydon, let's see, I do like the interactions that he's had with Willow and Allura. Let's see, it's confirmed that, yeah, he does have a thing for Laura, so that'll be an interesting sort of love triangle going on where, let's see, he knows that his fiance doesn't love her and actually loves Jade and all that stuff, but he's into Allura, but Allura, of course, is into, like, Kit. So, Jade, let's see, Graydon feels like he has a strong under, he doesn't have a chance enough, but of course. He says this to like Willow as a mentor thing, but like to like a sort of mentor-like figure to ask for advice. But of course, he doesn't want. Let's see, and he's probably speaking for some that don't care for like the romance thing. Like, no, I don't care about the romance thing. Don't have Allura focus on that. She needs to save the world. Doesn't want her to focus because he has his priorities straight. But then she comes to bond with him later when. After he feels like he probably might have been rejected, or let's see, he can't really confront, let's see, Laura of his feelings yet to like Willow, and he admits that let's see, he isn't as great as everyone tells him, even though he quite admires him, but he seems to be having a fun time, but ends up regretting confessing all that later, which I will admit is like more interesting thing with Laura, which I do like how Willow's been more focused on her training, but saying, no, you can't do the magic until you master all the principles of magic yet, even though she tries a very poor attempt of humor trying to say transform into someone that will give her the wand. But I do like how she steals it, and it's like frustrated mental moment. But now I'm a bit mixed on the words here, because I do kind of like how Laura finds out, overhears with the, let's see, Willow that it was dumb luck that he defeated Balmora, and he's past his prime and all that stuff, and probably not like the greatest sorcerer, probably average at best. But I feel like the word hack was a bit extreme, really, because the magic was always in Willow, and his own former leader of his village even pointed that out to him, that it was inside him and all that stuff. And Willow did quite a few magic tricks and all that stuff, but I guess that's just how they want to go for it to cause a bit of tension between the two later when she starts to let's see, probably disobey him more since let's see, he's not as great as he would be, but I wouldn't be surprised if during along this journey Willow gets some of his former strength back and maybe even actually becomes the wizard that he always sorcerer that he always destined to be. Okay, Jade being Kale's daughter. Does that let's see, okay, that's clearly another. Let's see. Well, in many ways, it's a nice way to try and tie Jade more into like the movie. In fact, being like the number two bad guy, the second in command bad guy's. Let's see, daughter. Though, interesting how the Bone Reavers seem to have like multiple daughters, and it's interesting that these are sort of grey area in the fact that Sasha had lied to Jade about her upbringing and all that stuff when training her to hunt the people that she was destined to fight, but this leads to Jade to question. I think probably leads to Jade to have question whether or not she actually wants to be a knight anymore and all that stuff. But seems to embrace her sister and all that stuff. But yeah, and let's see. Depending on how people feel about this relationship, some might feel like this is probably the most forced one. I'm a bit mixed on it. I sometimes feel like the dialogue weakens it and all that stuff, but I do like how Jade confronts, let's see, Kit about, let's see what she knows, and feels like she ends up breaking up with her because of, let's see, because of being heartbroken by Kit each time from keeping secrets or what she may or may not know. But, does eventually make up and talks about that they do actually want the two want to be together, of course. For their kiss, they get kidnapped. So yeah, so I wouldn't probably expect more of their building romance in the future. Probably going to get a kiss eventually, maybe at the end of the season. But yeah. But other than that, let's see. But the one I found more interesting is the more of the Allura and Kit dynamic, where you've got these two that clearly don't like each other, starting to get more of a begrudging respect and teaming up and helping each other, with Allura stealing the wand and breaking him out. Them commenting that she knows about her romance, and then, of course, Kit getting advice from Allura about said romance. And promising, giving her helpful advice about apologizing, which does seem to work out in her favor. But yeah, let's see. Other than that, I do like how Willow has reunion with like one of the brownie folks he met, though for some reason only one of them is there. My guess is they couldn't get the other actor back. I'm not sure why. I'm from as far as I can tell. The dude isn't dead, I think. I need to probably search that up, but I do like how he explains what has been going on in his life. Funny story about what happened to why his friend left him. Bringing up like the sort of tricks he used for tips he did to help Willow in the past. They have a sort of like size comparison, high fives and small thing. And it was always clever having smaller people than Willow, who is quite small himself compared to everyone else, being given the actors and condition, stature. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I was politically incorrect there. But does tell, but is just doing me there for cameo and makes a bit of joke about how the, let's see, Bone Reavers just keep to themselves and leave them down here because of disrespect, but tells Willow he has got new companions to go with him, Graydon, which I think leads to him being more open up in the future. And I wouldn't be surprised if these two start to bond more as a result of this brownie. Let's see, I think. Let's see, let's see, Roll. Yeah, sorry, I'm saying the name wrong, but yeah, I do like the interactions with his daughter, going like, "You're a protective father. I want to move out." Because normally it's like the kids that it's the parents that want the kids to move out, not the parent wants the kid, not the kid themselves. But yeah, other than that, I do kind of find the interactions with Reaver, Bone Reavers there, and how they don't really want to work for someone like Balmora or the people of Treya of like let's see try and listen. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but yeah. And I just want to be free and all that stuff. And I do like that Luff one where interactions we have with Woman making fun of his name. Let's see, with cooking with Alora and give it and funny into cutting a Graydon's beard, saying that you want to impress ladies, but yeah. But yeah, I think the cliffhanger is probably the most promising thing with the trolls attacking. Overall, I think I'll give this episode. It's probably a 6 to 7 out of 10. It's okay. It's not too bad. It really depends on how you feel about the romance. I do like the sort of let's see, but I think the highlight is Willow interacting with his old brownie friend. So yeah, disappointing that we didn't see the Prince Eric and more of the Gales. But instead lead to more character romances. But other thing I didn't really like was perhaps maybe too much of the modern music, and I do wish they would use some of the more classic music. Though I think they used less modern music in the credits, if you will. Though I could have been wrong. But yeah, and of course this is probably the most like romance teen drama you can probably get in the series so far. But I guess they're just building up for later episodes. Overall, they've done the groundwork, and I hope they include them in over a couple of episodes. But yeah, overall, that's what I have to say about the episode. I hope everyone enjoy. For those who end up listening, I hope you enjoyed what I have to say. I am Blue Star Saber, signing off, and goodbye for now.